My name is Ari Solomon. I'm going to give a brief tour of my work. My series is called 6 Feet Apart, on this wall here and also on the ground. So what I have been doing for the last 5 years is documenting the markers that people put all around the world telling us to stand 6 feet apart or 2 meters apart for the COVID-19 pandemic. So I started when the pandemic began in March 2020. I was documenting many kinds of changes in my neighborhood caused by the pandemic, and then I ended up focusing only on these simple marks as a way to create metaphors for how our lives changed. So in this grouping, I'm organizing them by shape. So those are the X shapes. Here's many kinds of arrow shapes. So each one of these is a photograph of a social distancing mark that I took, something that was existing, that was on the sidewalk or inside of a store. I like showing them as a grid as a reference to the scientific efforts. You know, a grid is or a typology is a way scientists use to study an object, a phenomenon. So I'm using the grid, but I also had this version that breaks up the grid as a way to reference the chaos of the pandemic and the way it disrupted many people's lives and reflects some of the emotional content of what happened. Here's some other circle shapes. Many of these are taken in my neighborhood in San Francisco, also traveling in Japan and other places in the world. There's a number from Australia. So this piece on the ground that goes all around our exhibit here I did something like this in another gallery, both inside the gallery and out on the sidewalk. In the gallery, I love how it creates a sense of like the gallery is a stage and people can choose how they want to act on the stage and think about how they acted in the pandemic. The images I had outside, they were scratched and torn and faded for a few months out on the sidewalk in front of the gallery, and then I scraped them off the sidewalk and framed them as a way to... I like the idea of this metaphor of the fragility of health and the fragility of the images, and taking the time to treat them with care. I call those artifacts. And this piece is another scientific kind of metaphor. So again, these are all pictures of a single piece of tape on the ground that I found in different locations, and I'm arranging them in groups of 4 to reference DNA sequencing. This looks like one of the many ways the DNA is represented, and there's no real data behind this, but again, trying to make a visual reference to something that was a part of our lives during the pandemic. And here's the text panel in English and in Chinese. And the works on the ground continue, and they're just stuck to this very dusty ground. There's so much dust that they kind of fade, and I like that they look like they've been here for a very long time. I imagine they've been here maybe since the pandemic started. Some people look at them, some people don't notice them. I think it helps explain my work a lot for people who it doesn't click that, oh, these are social distancing marks, but then they see the images spread apart on the ground and it makes a little more sense. All right, I'm going to end the video here. Thanks for joining me.